This is Josh at the Valley in Tacoma, and you're listening to Chasing Ghosts on Scooters in Bars.
Chasing Ghosts on Scooters in Bars, the podcast that blends the modern scooter lifestyle with a twist of the paranormal over a cool cocktail. This podcast follows a group of modern Vespa riders in search of classic pubs, dive bars, and haunted taverns. And the conversations that follow are simply our own, with no concerns about the fallout that could certainly happen and occasionally does. Now, Season 2, Episode 5, Tote Goats and UFOs. We're taking a little detour from our normal haunted pub story to dig into the big story that's been circulating, the emergence in the mainstream of the UFO.
I've heard about that.
Oh, well, before we get into that, let's introduce our crew today. We've got Coach Mark Shelbert.
Hey.
My always faithful old Shep of a co-podcasting partner, Lonnie the Lizard.
I'm taking a detour.
Okay, good. And agreeing under duress to be here and not some sleazy happy hour, Mike Ike Franage.
Glad to be here.
And Bobby Chong, he's at a senior's happy hour right now.
He should be put to bed here soon.
So, Mike, happy to have you here for the first time. This is a big one for you because you tell a story later.
I'm very excited about it.
So welcome, guys, and happy Friday. Spring is just around the corner, and I already can feel the writing energy building.
It's about time. That's why those days are getting longer.
So over the cool, cold winter, we put some work into the studio.
I worked my tail off.
Yes. Thank you, by the way. Wait. Mark did come over to help me put some brass grommets into our moving blankets. We still have a well-stocked bar.
Absolutely.
So
that's a must.
The neon is on.
Yep, the record sign.
But we have added 2 more ATR 2100 microphones with booms and spit things.
Filters, spit filters.
Thank you. Spit them.
If we can just get some for the tubas.
So now we have 4 microphones and a mixer and a Behringer H1204 USD mixer, which I'm still learning to use. I have no idea really what I'm doing other than I got all 4 mics working, so I'm happy about it.
And you're turning on a lot of knobs, so that's...
You know, and I just appreciate the studio audience being so quiet. There must be 100 people out there right now.
So we're plugging all this into our trusty Tascam DR40 4-track digital recorder and editing on our service book using Audacity. What do you think of all that, Mark?
Pretty damn ballsy, if you ask me.
You don't know anything about it.
No. I see a lot of lights and cords, though. That's impressive.
We are working hard to give our listeners a higher quality listening experience. However, we are still as poorly researched and unprepared as ever. And some things just don't change.
This is Andrew at Vespa Portland, and you are listening to Chasing Ghosts on Scooters in Bars.
Hey, a call out to our Auckland, New Zealand listeners.
Auckland?
Auckland. It's supposed to be a beautiful town. They are now our number 2 listening area behind the old USA.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, where does that come from? They must have a very vibrant scooter community or a very great bar community or it's haunted.
Or a really slow town.
So here's one. What's up down there?
You rehearsed that, didn't you?
No. Okay, thanks for listening. And by the way, our old friend, Mr. Grumpy, John Rasmussen, is down there right now. He's in Auckland. It was so funny. He texted me today and says, here's what he said about Auckland. Truly one of the nicest cities I've ever seen. Clean, cool, contemporary, polite, and educated people. He says, it would be a great place to live, except I don't like driving on the wrong side of the road.
Well, for Grumpy John, that's turn that frown upside down.
I mean, it's very positive. Maybe when he gets on the right side of the equator, it changes things. So thanks for listening down there. That's really great. And,
do you think he's introduced our podcast to the listeners there?
No,
or
no.
Just
as a matter of fact,
happenstance?
I can see what states are listening to our podcast. There isn't a fucking one in Hawaii going on right now where he lives. So
you're kidding.
He hasn't listened for months. So I'm sure he's just saving them up to listen on the plane, on the way back. But a little hurtful, John. I know he won't hear this, so it doesn't really matter. I hear a scooter parking outside.
By God, I did hear the little rumble of that scooter.
We better pause and see who's come to visit us.
Quick,
Could it
quick
be-
to the door.
Could it be a senior coming from a senior happy hour?
Unlock the studio.
Wow, great news. Bobby Chong just joined us.
The
and
legendary
He
Bobby
rode his
Chong.
scooter. We heard your Well, what kind of exhaust do you have, Bob?
Not sure.
Oh, well, you know what? Welcome back from rehab, Bobby. You're looking good.
Thank you.
You just opened the White Claw. Now we're starting to drink a little White Claw. It's a flavored seltzer water. It's got 100 calories. It's 5% alcohol and super low carb.
You know what? You two guys are on such a great diet. Pretty soon you'll be riding 150s.
That was funny, Lonnie. Fuck you is right. So let's talk about our new feature, Scooter News. Scooter News.
We introduced this on episode 4, right?
We did. We talked about it, and I think we all know what's coming here. That is, the electric wave is still pushing through everything in our lives, including the scooter world. We talked about the new Vespa electric scooter last time, and now we're going to talk about the U-Jet. Just introduced.
You who?
The U-Jet, just introduced at the Consumer Electronics Show and going to be released worldwide, while Europe and USA in late 2018. It is really, really cool. So this is a little scooter that has over a 5 horsepower motor, electric motor. It'll go 93 miles with a big battery. It's designed so that it connects to the owner's smartphone, which is used to unlock it, to locate it, and disable it if somebody takes it.
So you don't need a key?
I don't know. It isn't out yet. It's powered by an in-wheel motor that delivers 5.44 horsepower and 66 pounds of torque. And you would think that wouldn't be much, except it weighs less than 100 pounds.
Wow.
So apparently it's very fast.
I'm thinking their target demographic might be housewives.
Yeah, sounds like a spinner.
So it's got orbital wheels that are an alternative to a spoked wheel, and it runs those wheels looks like a disc brake that holds it from the edge. There's nothing in the center.
And for our listening audience, with your hand gestures, it's really not helping.
So the other cool thing is you can charge it by just plugging into the wall. You don't need a custom charger. So you just pull the battery, go inside with the battery, and plug it in.
Unlike my
Can you
Tesla.
do that at a bar?
Yes, and you know what? In 2 hours, it's charged, which is about right for you. If you do the 4 to 6 p.m. happy hour, you're charged back up and you take your electric scooter home. Here's the deal. It's expected to retail for about $9,000.
Whoa.
So it's a serious scooter. Okay, let's talk about AmeriVespa, because that is news today. We're getting closer to that magical rally, and this year it's in Richmond, Virginia, one of the most haunted areas of the country. I'm sorry, I couldn't leave it out. I don't think ghosts are the focus of their weekend, but I think pubs and scooters are. So we're like 2 out of 3.
Do you think the introduction to Chasing Ghosts last year helped?
You know what? We had a
Virginia,
good
or-
time with them when they came to Seattle. We met a whole bunch
They had
of
a great time.
Well, they were having a great time whether we were there or not, but it was nice to meet everybody. And they're calling it a meetup for aficionados this year. That's the theme.
Is that us?
Well, we're not that official.
And we bought all this new gear, so we probably don't have any dough to go down there.
No, we're going to fly down and spend the day.
Wait, it's not down. It's across.
It's across and down, Bob.
Slightly down.
Hey, if you're gonna sit in, talk into the microphone.
Isn't that where NASA is? Like Richmond, Virginia, where Langley. Isn't Langley right around there?
Mark? Can you?
Bob, you've been reading too much
Okay,
again.
Bobby, well, thanks for coming.
Okay, we're going to go to break.
So the official hotel, the host hotel, is called The Graduate. It's supposed to be very, very cool. And just go to amerivespa.net to register. If you're a Vespa Club of America member, like I am, I have the patches, stickers, and all the cool stuff.
I do too.
Okay, good job.
My wife got it for me.
Nice. It's only $65 for this lifetime experience. Do it. Do it now.
I'm in.
This is Carrot, eating oysters at Hama Hama Oyster Saloon, and you're listening to Chasing Ghosts on Scooters in Bars.
Okay, to our subject matter, tote goats and UFOs. And I have some questions for you guys. What if I said there is a West Coast area billionaire that's consumed with desire to investigate UFO and paranormal phenomena, has a huge complex in Las Vegas with potential alien-based metallurgical evidence that's being studied, has the help of a huge rock star, and is paid by the U.S. government?
I'd say bullshit.
I'm not buying it.
I'd say define the big words.
Nope.
Sounds like an Austin Powers movie. It does. I mean, it really does. But it's all true. His name is John Bigelow, and the rock star is Blink 182's Tom DeLonge.
Get out.
No, this is it. We are going mainstream here, guys. And
No, we're not.
okay, let me ask some other questions. Mark, this I'm going to direct this at you.
Okay.
Let's be clear. Do you believe in ghosts?
No.
Bigfoot.
No.
Well, another word is Sasquatch. Maybe.
No.
Okay.
No. Cousin, I don't believe in cousins.
How about Yeti?
Only the coolers.
Okay. How about ESP?
No.
Time travel.
Nope.
Multiple dimensions.
Hard time.
What? I mean, that's physics.
Yeah, I never made it that far.
Okay. Haunted objects.
Possessed, maybe, but not haunted.
How about UFOs?
Got a problem there, too.
I mean, you just say no to everything.
I need to feel something, physically feel it or see it. And a light in the sky just doesn't do it for me.
Okay, so what if I told you that two of the people that we ride with on our pub scoots, have said they have seen a UFO?
I would love to hear it.
Okay, as much as you think...
Who is that?
I'm a nutcase, do you also think they are a nutcase too?
No. I got to hear it first.
I'm putting you on the spot here.
You are, but I have not known this before.
Okay, they're going to tell their stories tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
Then I'm sticking around.
Okay, so let's start with a little something on the side. Have you heard of the famous Maury Island UFO from the 1950s?
Yes, I have.
Has anybody else?
Yes, I have.
I've heard about it.
I'm much too young to hear
It
those.
is one of the most famous UFO stories ever because it started the flying saucer craze in the United States and defined it that way.
Well, the Cold War and the hunt for the space race had something to do with that, too.
It
That's
did.
real stuff there.
But the flying saucer was defined by a pilot seeing actual saucers flying by Mount Rainier back in those days. That's where that term was coined from. The Maury Island incident was something that happened where this thing took off out of Maury Island. It actually dropped some metal that fell down and hit a fishing boat, and they collected this metal in the boat. And that metal, this is where the Men in Black kind of come in. People from the government arrived, dressed sort of like this Men in Black deal, picked up the metal, put it in an airplane from the U.S. government, and were flying it to a super secret location, and the airplane actually crashed. You can check this. It's on the internet.
Well, then it's got to be true. I changed my whole stance on all this then.
Okay, so my brother Bobby Chong and myself have an older sister. Way older. She says that she saw a UFO come up out of Maury Island way back then. I mean, she was born, what, 1948? Let's not talk about that. So,
wow.
Is this the same Maury Island UFO story that she says she saw?
I'm not sure because there's a time gap. So she may have seen the second Maury Island incident. But she was parked with her boyfriend at Dash Point, sitting there.
Apparently looking up.
looking across the way. She said she saw a great big craft lift from Maury Island and fly away. And you're right, Bob.
Craft
with her
shaft?
head down. How could she have seen that?
I've often gotten those confused.
I have a lot of respect for your sister. Knock it off.
So there are three people you know that they've seen unidentified flying objects.
This is Carrie from the Bubble Room on Captiva Island, and you're listening to Chasing Ghosts on Scooters in Bars.
Here we go. So UFOs are in the news. In fact, they're in the New York Times in an explosive front-page story documenting how Congressman Harry Reid, billionaire Robert Bigelow of Bigelow Aerospace and Extended Stay America, Blink 182's Tom DeLonge, and the Defense Department are all tied together and have spent over $22 million in recent years researching UFOs.
Well, Walter Cronkite, why don't you give us some more information then?
No, this is big. The legitimacy of the phenomena is going on. They are what they're doing is they're causing us to become desensitized to what's going to happen.
When will I change?
Little by little, they're making us ready.
They're setting us up.
Yeah,
right.
Yep. We're very close, people. We are very, very
I'm ready
close.
to take it.
According to the Times, the Pentagon recently confirmed that it had taken part in a partially declassified program to investigate UFOs called the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or AATIP. The project, which was launched primarily at the request of Harry Reid, who we mentioned, ran from at least 2007 through 2012, though some involved believe it's still alive in a less organized form.
Okay, well, this was on the news this week.
This
past week.
Again, but
Him
this came
trying
out
to
in December 1st.
Right, but he's trying to regenerate this program.
Absolutely. It's
That
I'm
has
telling
been
you.
defunct. Debunked?
It's neither.
What is-
It's been declassified.
Well, sure.
Okay, so Reid was apparently influenced by his friend Robert Bigelow, this billionaire I keep talking about, who told CBS's 60 Minutes back in May that he's absolutely convinced UFOs have visited Earth. According to Shostak, who is the writer, Bigelow's obsession with extraterrestrials has gone back much, much longer. The program collected video and audio recordings of reported UFO incidents, including footage from a Navy FA-18 Super Hornet. Bob, do you know that plane?
Sure, it can land on a flat top.
No kidding?
Well, it must be able to. It's a Navy.
Right. So it's showing an aircraft surrounded by some kind of glowing aura traveling at a high speed and rotating as it moves. The Navy pilots can be heard trying to understand what they were seeing. There was a whole fleet of them, one explains. Defense officials declined to release the location and the date of the incident.
This is Hey, this is my time. This is Autumn at the 1111, and you're listening to Chasing Ghosts on Scooters in Bars.
Here we go.
Okay.
So just in the last few days, the Pentagon has released another encounter that happened in 2015, and I sent you guys the link for the video. Did you watch it?
Yes.
Yes, I
It
did.
was unbelievable.
Tried.
So this has been going on intentionally, nationally, and now even locally. We have two people in our scooter group that have said they've seen a UFO.
But who are the two? You still haven't told us.
Well, I think I might have. But in our little pub scoot group, there's two people that have actually seen it. The same group. We go from pub to pub searching for ghost stories and classic
So
bars.
this is odd to me because
Well,
you
I'm the one
openly are
searching.
out of the closet and just parading around in a miniskirt. Pink tutu, if you will, just screaming
You need to
about
be sensitive.
UFOs.
You
And
need to
whoever
be
the other
sensitive
two are,
about that.
I'm very curious as who these people are.
I just want to
I
know
don't even know my own scooter group.
what
That
are the
hurts.
chances that we're sitting in a room and two people...
Okay, I'll admit it. It wasn't me.
And me.
Okay, so today we're going to hear from Mike, also known as Ike, because he could never finish a scooter ride, and Bobby Chong. Both of them have seen a UFO, and they're going to tell their stories. The supernatural lives right here with us, guys.
I'll be damned. I would have never guessed those two.
Well, here's some fun facts for you.
I love fun facts.
Yeah. Did you know that over 50% of the population believe that aliens exist, per the Huffington Post?
You said huffing? Isn't that a phenomenon with the teenagers nowadays?
It was 30 years ago,
I can
20
see
years
that
ago.
happening.
But 50% of the people believe aliens exist. Did you know that UFO sightings have hit an all-time high per Fox News?
Is
That's
that
your
that
channel,
fake,
Lonnie.
That's the fake news channel, isn't it?
Well, I still don't know if I believe in aliens, but I was in a coma once.
That's right. You were in a coma.
Oh, Tacoma? Yeah. It's a nice little town. Really love it.
So there's been over 100,000 sightings reported in the last 100 years, with the internet driving up those numbers at a really high rate. So most of them have just happened recently. I mean, where people are reporting all these sightings, but it's over a 100-year period.
But do entertainers believe in these two?
Well, there's been 11 pop stars reporting seeing UFOs.
Really?
Not just pop stars, superstars. What about Elvis? He had a thing for UFOs. He had multiple sightings, including one where he said he saw an alien in a white jumpsuit. So that's where that came from.
He had something for
Liberace?
his
blue
father.
suede shoes.
His father saw a UFO the night Elvis was born as well. I think that's crazy. Reg Presley of the Trogs. He had his own TV show afterwards after he saw one about aliens. So much for the music. Did a soundtrack for
Hold on. Who'd you say that was?
Reg Presley.
Was that his uncle?
I don't know. It's his name from the lead singer of the Trogs.
Oh, the Trogs.
Okay,
yeah.
Earlier we brought up Tom DeLonge from Blink 182.
Right.
He claims he's met an alien, and probably, I think it was a lizard person.
Did he blink?
Yeah. Jimi Hendrix and his brother saw one in our state of Washington when they were kids.
Well, I do know none of the musicians I've ever heard of take drugs or drop acid.
So
That's a good point.
you know what? That's so judgmental, and that's so,
I'm not judging.
You're,
I'm just
you're acting
explaining.
old again.
I'm explaining
John Lennon.
why they've had
okay.
sightings.
How about this? John Lennon saw one, and he even described them in the liner notes of Walls and Bridges.
Before or after he experienced this?
Okay, this one I'll give you. Keith Richards did too. Okay, but we'll just leave that one alone.
So these guys, every one of them's dead, right?
No, Keith is alive. Tom DeLonge
Kind
is
of.
alive. Reg is alive.
He's not vertical, but he's
All
breathing.
I'm saying is, Bob and Mike, Ike, you guys are in good company. You're in good company. There's a lot of people that over half that believe in it, and famous people that have seen them. And I'm a little jealous. I haven't seen a UFO.
I'm looking at the sky right now, and I see a plane going by. Would that be described as a UFO?
That would not.
Okay.
So Bobby Chung, you were riding your tote goat under the power lines 50 years ago, and we're going to hear the story that you have about UFOs. Why don't you tell us that?
We used to sneak out all the time. And he had a mini bike, and I had an old collegiate tote goat. And it was probably midnight or 1 in the morning.
How old were you?
I think I was 12 or 13. So we have Bonneville power lines going over his property, and they have maintenance roads, had maintenance roads underneath them that were run all the way to Seattle, really.
Yeah.
So we'd take off at night.
Right, and they weren't fenced.
They weren't what?
Fenced in.
No fences.
Right.
Then. So we take off one night, and Randy, I think his chain came off. He had a centrifugal clutch with a chain. So we had to stop, and we weren't very far away from his house. And we started working on it, but it was dark. We didn't have a flashlight, of course. We had moonlight, though. And for some reason, we just felt like there was something going on, and we both looked up and saw this pretty huge, round, I'll call it a UFO, just hovering, moving slowly over the power lines, just above the power lines, which couldn't have been more than 120 feet or 150 feet above the ground level. And it couldn't have been moving more than a mile or two per hour, just moving along. And I think it had a low frequency type of hum to it. And I think it was glowing slightly, but it was just really dark and round. And I would say, guess, 150 feet across, minimum. And we watched it for a few minutes, or a minute, probably less than a minute, as it moved slowly across the top of us. And then we just started working on the mini bike again and never gave it a second thought. And that's it. I mean, there's nothing else to that story. We never saw it shoot off or disappear. We didn't even watch.
It just flew away. It flew along the lines away
It
from
was
you.
hovering over the lines, which are high voltage. They're 15 or 20,000 volts.
And do you think that there is any chance that you lost any time?
I have no awareness, perception of that.
So you guys, did you head home right away or kept riding?
We kept riding.
And didn't talk about it?
Never really talked about it. I mean, it was 25 years later before I ever brought it up to Randy, and he remembers it as well. But it didn't freak us out. It was like, to us as 13-year-olds or 12-year-olds, it was like, yeah, whatever. We got other things to do right now.
Right, and they did too. Apparently they were sucking the power out of the Bonneville power lines into their spaceship, Bob.
That could be true.
Well, it's a great story, and after 50 years, you remember it like yesterday.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, there was no question.
And, man, I sure wish you still had that tote goat.
Yeah, the old collegiate, minus all the sheet metal.
Well, let's get back to the guys. Nice job. So, wow. What do you guys think about that story?
You floored me, Bobby. I had no idea, and you certainly lend credibility to this topic, but I would still like to see some footage.
Well, I think I'd like to see some footage of his tote goat collegiate.
I would like to see either.
Now, was that a worm drive, a shaft drive? How'd that work again?
Was that a collegiate?
It was a collegiate, and I bought it from a girl. I took all the fenders off.
So our next story is from Ike, and let's hear his. About 10 years ago, he had a little adventure on snow sleds. What are those called? Snow machines. Snowmobiles. Snow machines.
Yep.
Anyway, here's Mike's story.
About 10 years ago, we were snowmobiling over in Lake Sealy, Montana.
Well, no, wait a minute. Snowmobiling. This is a scooter podcast. Is that a snow scooter?
It's a sled.
Okay.
Yes.
We're going to go with it for this particular program. So you were scootering in Montana on snow.
Yep. We'd been over there for about 3 days, and we only had 1 day left. We decided that we were going to go for a night ride up to a really beautiful area we found.
Wait a minute. It's also a pub podcast. Did you go to any pubs while you were there?
There are some pubs that we can stop by in and out of town because it's in the winter, you can ride your snowmobiles down the road.
So you did go to a pub?
Yes.
So we have snow scooters and pubs, and now you're going to tell us a story.
Well, we took off up into this beautiful little meadow that we rode in earlier in the day and decided we wanted to go back up there and ride again. And went up there, and it was a clear-cut area, and we were riding and having a great time, and we decided it was time to stop and maybe have a cool refreshment.
Nice.
And we were sitting up on top of the hill talking and laughing about the stupid things we'd done all day. And all of a sudden, about 3 meadows down below us, there became a very bright light. And we all just kind of looked and thought maybe it was, a couple more snowmobiles coming up, but there was no noise. And suddenly, this bright light became really bright, and it got bright to the point we couldn't see anything, and then it was gone. And the 3 of us sat there and looked at each other and didn't say a word, just started up our snow scooters, and took off riding and didn't stop until we got back into town.
Wow. And so did the light got very, very bright. Did it fly away or did it just disappear?
I don't know if it flew away or what, but it was there and then it was gone.
And it was so bright that you couldn't see anything else?
Nope, that was it.
How long did the light last?
Well, it seemed a long time, but it was probably very quick. But the light down below prior to it leaving was, it was down there for 30 seconds or so before it started getting brighter.
Did you, and I asked Bobby Chong this when he told me his story, but did you feel like you missed any time?
No, but I know this, every hair on my body was standing straight up and down, and it was like, this is really weird.
And there was nothing, no homes, nothing around that area, just out in the mountains?
Yeah, 5 miles from any civilization or power.
So the light started, almost like a headlight far away. You said 3 meadows down. Would that be a half mile, quarter of a mile?
Probably half mile away.
And then that light got continually brighter?
Bright to the point that you couldn't see anything.
So,
I mean, like blinding bright.
In the middle of the night?
Yes.
And then it just went black, or what?
The light was just gone.
And you couldn't see for a little bit because it was so bright after that? Like,
yeah, then it was the clear sky and the stars and and
no one said a word, which is common.
Yep.
And you just got on your sleds and you rode away.
We looked at each other and started them up, and we were gone.
Was it? We're going to get the heck out of here?
Yes. Yeah. It was.
Wow. Ike, that's a good one. And it really happened, didn't it?
Yes.
So, Mark Shelburne, who will be here in just a little bit tonight to finish up this podcast, he's a skeptic. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yes, I am.
Are you a skeptic on all things or anything? Or do you believe, obviously you believe something there was otherworldly, but how about ghosts?
Oh, I totally believe in ghosts. I just got done spending about 6 weeks in a hotel in Portland, Oregon.
You were remodeling it?
Yep, that's what I do for a living. And there's a room that at some point in time, years ago, 4 people were murdered in. I was working in that room, and my cell phone totally crashed.
Right.
Would not turn on, no buttons would work, nothing. And I was talking to a couple of the guys that I was working with, and they've also had that same experience in that room where their cell phones crashed in that particular room.
Sucks the power out of it.
No, just it was on, but nothing would, you'd push buttons and nothing would happen.
And only in that room?
Yep.
In a cool hotel?
Very, very cool hotel. I think it's built in the 40s.
Right. Can we talk about which one?
Yes. Yeah, it's the Heathman Hotel.
Heathman?
Yes.
Yeah. So I've stayed down in Portland a couple of times. It's pretty cool downtown there, but never there. But it might be on my agenda.
I believe the book of Shades of Grey.
Oh, 50 Shades?
50 Shades of Grey was written in that hotel.
Well, that sucked the energy out of anybody.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Well, thanks for sharing your story and for finally being part of the podcast instead of just listening to it. Well, you ride with us. You go to the bars. You do all this stuff, but you're usually out of town when we're doing our day rides. You go on the multi-day rides for most of the days.
I try to get on a couple now and then, but I'm on the road a lot working.
What do you ride again? What's your scooter?
It's a 250 GTS.
All right. Well, we're going to get back and talk UFOs and tote goats. So, we're just not alone, or at least we weren't then. Probably the biggest cover-up ever. The government's admitted to having a UFO program. A government contractor billionaire is involved. Blink 182 is doing the soundtrack. And we should just expect the great alien unveiling soon. So we must get on our scoots and ride. Don't look up, just look forward. Keep the rubber side down. Locate the next great classic pub, dive bar, or haunted tavern, because that's what we do. Nothing can change that. Nothing will, except our wives.
Yeah, that's...
Damn it.
Nothing will stop us.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mark, and I'm pouting.
Please tell your scooter, ghosty, and bar friends about chasing ghosts on scooters in bars. Please show them how to listen and how to download a podcast. Find us anywhere, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and all the rest. If you like what you hear, please review us on Apple Podcasts or even our Facebook page at Chasing Ghost Pod, Instagram, or Twitter. We need your support, and thank you for listening. And also, thanks to Weeknights for the opening music and our hosts, Mark, Lizard, Bobby Chong, Ike, and the rest.
Thanks for having me.
Good night.
This podcast and all others, including the music by Weeknights, is copyright by Chasing Ghosts on Scooters in Bars.
You hear that?